This is
WAW!
What a Week.
What a Week. PoliTricks.
Welcome to another episode of #PoliTricks with Botsang Modimowame Moiloa. Our commentator on political matters always shows up regularly and on time, just like a conspiracy theory does when a leader in the Middle East passes away. Though he actually tends to be more believable. So let's give another welcome to our PoliTricks person, Botsang Modimowame Moiloa. Botsang.
Brother Fresh, good morning, and good morning to the followers and the viewers.
Yes, sir.
The
How you doing?
subscribers. I'm doing well, my brother. Doing very well.
Week number 3 of you looking like you stepped out of a GQ magazine.
Should I? Okay, I'm gonna go back to grow my hair and go back to my African shirt and looks.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, you're gonna see this very often this coming few weeks. No, man, I'm just checking if my clothes are sitting well, old clothes sitting well. I'm working on weight like you, and I'm seeing the results.
Aha.
Yes, so I want to see if the suits fit well, they sit well,
Yes, sir.
so that when I resume duty,
Yes.
I should not go shopping. I should just open the cupboard and then dress. But like I said, I also feel good.
No, you're looking good.
Yeah, thanks, brother.
Let's go to the ICC. Start there. Warrants of arrest for Netanyahu, his military king, head of the military.
Head of military, head of intelligence.
Yoav, what's his name? Yoav. And also for Hamas leaders.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Look, Fresh, this is very interesting. You remember about
And
few weeks
also
back,
because South Africa supports that move.
that move, yes.
From Jewish quarters in South Africa, they're calling out the government and the ANC saying that's a double standard because you refuse to arrest someone when he was here from Sudan.
Yes, the leader of Sudan, yes.
Absolutely.
By President Bashir, yes.
Omar al-Bashir.
Yes, yes.
And the fact that even with the Putin warrant of arrest, you guys were not wagging your tails
Really diving.
the way you're doing now with Netanyahu. What are your thoughts on that? And the US think is ludicrous, as
Well,
always.
U.S. and Israel thinks it's ludicrous.
Yes.
Coincidentally, one of the chief prosecutor, the chief of the ICJ, International Court of Justice, was threatened, actually received death threats and anonymous calls. And he says one of the leaders, his leading figure in the Israel government,
Sure.
had said to him, this court, and for me that's very critical. This court was formed for people like Putin and Africans, and obviously that's what that court has been doing over the years. The Putins, the al-Bashirs, the Slobodan Milosevic, of Serbia, and also Charles Taylor of the East African country, and Liberia. Now it is knocking at their doors, and South Africa is supporting this process because they were the initiators to the criminal court of processes, and that's why they are supporting the process. But we should all be knowing that it is the chief prosecutor of the ICJ who's in the forefront of this whole process to say they defied the court order. They refused to adhere to the court order. Even when South Africa was knocking on United Nations doors and humanitarian aid organization doors to say, but please, can these people stop? They actually intensified the attack. And obviously South Africa will support that position.
Sure.
I may sit here and say it is a double standard for South Africa. We should call it what it is, because when it is with the friends of South Africa, like it happened, look, with President Putin, the Americans can't say anything now because he never came to South Africa. So South Africa cannot be accused of not arresting Putin or blocking him from traveling to South Africa. They cannot. He decided he's not coming to the BRICS summit. But with President Omar al-Bashir, we know what happened. He was in the country. We let him go as a nation.
Sure.
And they may say it's double standard, but who is not playing double standards? The USA in this instance, who is the permanent member of the UN Security Council and subscribing to the ethics of the Security Council and the UN Charter, they are still supporting Israel. They are still on the side of Israel, and they don't see anything wrong with what had transpired. But for the ICJ chief prosecutor to go and apply for this warrant of arrest, I think it is well in the criminal law justice process to say you have been ordered to do something, you are refusing to adhere. It's like you killing somebody or going on a rampage and killing people for drugs on the street. And the court said, stop killing people or eliminating your enemies for drug trade. Drug trafficking is already wrong, the same way as fighting in the Middle East. It's a wrong thing.
Sure.
But when you are ordered to stop, you continue, and that's why this warrant of arrest are being sought for these heads of state and the military and the intelligence. Do I think it will happen? The warrants may be issued. I'm very convinced that the warrants will be issued. Will Netanyahu be arrested where? You can't arrest him in Tel Aviv. You can't arrest him in the US.
Does he never travel to Europe?
Yeah, well, I hardly hear him traveling to Europe, except in one or few occasions he will travel to the Middle East, to Saudi Arabia, to engage on these issues. But obviously, once the arrest warrants are out, he will stop traveling.
Sure.
You understand? So for me, this will be effective if the international forces can go and extract a particular person when the warrant is there. If you are a member of the United Nations and the United Nations a sanctioned court issued a warrant of arrest, then it means the United Nations or that court has access to your country. They should go and arrest them there.
Yes.
But we know it will not happen. Well, the arrest warrants will go out. It will restrict them from moving. But Benjamin Netanyahu has been described by many people as evil, as even people in Israel. I mean, the Jewish community in South Africa have positively come up now. I think the Jewish communities around the world are getting tired of what is happening in Israel and between Israel and Hamas. But what is also of prime importance, Fresh, with this request to the ICJ by the chief prosecutor, is that he's not saying only Israel. He's also saying for atrocities and criminal activities committed by Hamas, let their leaders also be found accountable because they did not stop. Even some of us, and I personally am pro the Palestinian people, but we are saying killing is wrong generally, whether from each side. So this warrants of arrest is not only against Israel, it's also against the leaders of Hamas. And I think South Africa should stand by its position too. They started this whole process. They must see it to the end. And the fact that a lot of Zionism and Jewish communities and associations are all over the world, from being students and to academics and business people, are saying enough, it's enough. We cannot let our own Jewish brothers to continue doing this in the name of Zionism.
Absolutely. Yes, Defense Minister is Yoav Gallant.
Yeah, you're always good in names of these people,
And then
yes.
the Hamas leaders are Yahya Sinwar and leaders of the military and political wings.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see
where it goes.
Yeah.
But typically, I think nothing's going to happen.
Nah, typically in that thing, nothing's going to happen. I think, look, it's assassinations that happened in that region, you know. They
Sure.
kill each other, people disappear miraculously. But let's see how it goes.
Sure. Let's stay in the Middle East. The president of Iran, Ibrahim Raisi, who was 63,
Oh, I thought he was 68. Was he 63?
with
Yeah.
7 others, they were, I think, flying around the Azerbaijani
Azerbaijan region, yeah.
border in a Bell 212 helicopter. We're told hard landing, and they died. Hard landing in bad weather.
Yeah, that's
But
what
there were
we're told.
3 helicopters in a convoy. I'm not saying he was assassinated, but there were 3 helicopters in a convoy. Only the helicopter with President Raisi
Yeah.
went down in this bad weather. So were these other 2 helicopters bad weather resistant? Or was this weather very particular that we want the Bell 212 helicopter, but the other helicopters can go?
Well, Fresh, it's a complex one. Look, with the little knowledge of military that I have,
Sure.
the military people are some of the best choppers or pilots you can ever had in the world because of the nature of the aircrafts they are using. But I can also, you are raising a very important part to say there were 2 other helicopters, which normally we call them escort helicopters, like VIP protection and all that. And for the main chopper, to go down and this two doesn't go down, already that raises a question. It says to me that particular one was targeted. Or somebody may say, why I say targeted? I must say it, and from the beginning, it's Botsang's. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's what I believe in. You call it conspiracy theories. I don't think, with all the experience that the Iranian military have, it's in their land, they know the region, they know the place very well, they know the weather. Why would, after so many years, carrying the president of the republic, who was chipped to can actually succeed the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khomeini, as a successor, and you go and you risk and you fly a chopper in that weather to an extent that the chopper or the helicopter, military helicopter crashes and the president. Now, bro, it's what now? It's 1 month since Iran attacked Israel.
Sure.
And we know what Israel is capable of doing. They may deny, we may come with conspiracy theories. I personally believe the president of Iran, who was known as the butcher, who was a hardliner and also a very good diplomat, and President Ramaphosa have actually said he was a very good diplomat.
Sure.
And he was taken down, not only him, with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the country. I mean, that chopper was carrying the number 2 and number 3, if not number 4 of the country, and other 8 personnel, and everybody perished. I think Iran is going to go through the 8 day of mourning that they have announced, and they will come with investigation to tell what happened. But fortunately, the 2 other choppers that survived, they are alive to can tell the tale of what actually transpired there.
Yes.
Did some funny object size of a calculator appeared from nowhere in a foggy weather to take down the president of Iran? But from my side, I think President Rais had played a very pivotal role in fostering peace in the Middle East.
Sure.
Whether he was called a butcher or what, for what had happened during the Iraqi war, and the way he was a hardline leader, but he was a genuine diplomat, and may his soul rest in peace, and all those other people that were there with him. And we just hope that this will not worsen the situation in the Middle East, especially the tension that we are seeing happening between Iran as well as Israel.
Sure.
I hope it will not worsen the situation. I thought things will go bad the day the Americans or the Israelis took down their former commander-in-chief, with those drones. What was his name? I just forget the name. I thought things were bad enough that time, because Iran doesn't take kind of its leaders being taken down.
Absolutely.
Actually, the Islamic community generally, they don't take kind of that.
Yeah.
But let's see how it goes. May their soul rest in peace, and let there be peace in the Middle East.
Sure. Let's bring it back home. The other day, former President Zuma was back in court, as one does for the past 10 years. And the Court made a ruling.
17 years fresh.
Yeah.
If you count, it's 17 years. He's in court at least every month.
Yeah. So the Court made a ruling on whether former President Zuma is able to represent the MK party in Parliament.
In Parliament, yes.
Yes, tell us more about this.
Look, we did speak about it. I still say it was far-fetched, it was not necessary for them to go to court at this. But Zuma dragged them to court. The Court came out clear to say a sentence, it's a sentence.
Sure.
Whether civil matter, you a sentence without option to appeal, and it's more than 12 months. So it is well in line with the National Assembly regulation, the Constitution, section 47(1)(e) or whatever that section is, to say no, it doesn't differentiate. That's what they were clear. So we actually went to a constitutional court of the country. Law experts were not aware. They did not know. They said they were seeking clarity, and Concord gave clarity to say that rule is applicable across the board to whoever has been sentenced. But immediately after that, MK issued a statement. I watched an interview with Mhlamule, the MK spokesperson.
Yes.
that I regard, by the way, as one of the most eloquent and best spokespersons the country has at the moment.
Sure.
No, not only from politics. He speaks very well. He explains things very well without arrogance. And they were saying they may be going to the United Nations International Human Rights Commission. People call it committee, I call it commission. Because the human rights of President Zuma has been infringed. What is my view? One, I think they should not waste time doing that. They should focus on the elections. And like we all said previously, President Zuma may be a leader, may be loved by the people, but he's also aged.
Yes.
He's also aged, not because he can't lead, but he can play other roles in MK. So if
Sure.
I was a member or a leader of the MK, I will let this slide, take advantage of what transpired. You know, the MK and Trevor earlier on was saying to me, MK and ATM have been on the news in South Africa
Sure.
for the last 5 months almost every day than any other party or even organization or even business. So it must be telling they should take advantage of that marketing, indirect marketing tool and focus on the elections. The elections are 3 days, away and focus on that. They will deal with these things if they win. If they get numbers, they will decide what. There's already speculations in the media and social media that are happening. But yeah, I'm glad that the Constitutional Court made this decision before the elections. Now, people who are going to be voting, whether they are voting MK as their party or they are voting MK because President Zuma is in MK, they will go to the ballot box with a clear legal position
Sure.
of what is happening, what is the position that Mr. President Zuma cannot be a member of the National Assembly in South Africa until after 5 years since the sentencing.
Yeah.
So I mean, 82 years of old will be.
I was going to say, will he have the energy by then?
No, even now, I don't think he has the energy. He must focus on building the MK and grooming leaders in the MK. But we should recall also, Fresh, in one of the rallies of MK recently, President Zuma said everybody who is in the leadership of MK will not be going to the National Assembly. I mean, that was chilling for me. We spoke about it. They will remain in the headquarters or the leadership of MK and take youngsters and professionals and experts to go into government. I think they should implement that.
Yes.
With regard to the speculation of who is going to be the face, what do you call that thing that is whispering in the base baby in my ear and all that? Look, the speculations that there are talks involved with the former Chief Justice, Justice Mogoeng to can stand. I would not rule that out.
For him to step up.
To step up. I will not rule that out.
And he says he got a message from God.
That is going to be the president of the
So
Republic.
who are we to doubt it?
Yes. Who are we to doubt it? Look, to be honest, bro, I know MK has been talking to Mtate Mogoeng. You once put me in the corner to give a name, and I refused at the time to give a name. And let me tell you, if it happens, if Mtate Justice Mogoeng agrees, let me tell you, where will MK score big?
Tell us.
It is because Mogoeng is loved by many in South Africa because he has been a chief justice, a legal person, and not a politician. Even if they play in the political space, he is loved by many who are not from the ANC, the PAC, UDM, DA, no, across the board. South Africans love him.
He's likable. He's very likable.
He's likable. So that could work to their advantage. Whether he will accept or not, it's something that one will have to. But if a man stand up and say, I'm going to be the president of this republic without contesting the elections, and he is liked across the board, across the political parties, why would he refuse? But it's a wait and see. I think what we should focus on in the next 3 days, for now, is how the elections will go, with hope that they will go on peacefully. It's the most dynamic elections we have ever had post-1990, the most contested elections we have had post-1994. And after that, it's a wait-and-see situation.
Absolutely. Let's go to the Judicial Services Council. They recommend the first female for position of Chief Justice.
Yes.
Justice Mandisa Maya.
Yes, sir.
But I almost feel like this is a big deal that we are not making enough of a deal about. Am I correct in saying that?
I think you are correct. Let me agree with you.
Yes.
We are not making it's a big deal, but I think the reason the people and the citizens are not making a big deal about it, it is because we already knew. Remember, she was already recommended by the same Judicial Service Commission, supported by almost all political parties, obviously minus the DA, to be the Chief Justice of the Republic.
Sure.
And Mr. President Ramaphosa decided to say, I am not putting my ink and golden signature on Justice Maya. Look, some people are saying Mr. Ramaphosa was being strategic. And I think he was both politically, personally, as well as legally strategic. Number one, President Ramaphosa had built a relationship with Justice Zondo. And you needed Justice Zondo to can cover up and clear your political skirmishes, to can manage the Jacob Zuma problems, to can manage the Phala Phala issues. Whether people believe it or not, whether the judiciary is going to stand up and say the judiciary is independent from the arms of state, I don't believe in that nonsense at all. There's no independence here. So Ramaphosa needed a Zondo to be in that position. Even if you knew that the man is going to sit only for 3 years, to his retirement, you still appointed him as the Chief Justice of the Republic, against the will of political parties and the Judicial Service Commission to say Justice Mandisa Maya should rise to the occasion. But you know, the lady, I have very big respect for her. I looked at the interview and
it was a grueling 4 hours.
Yes. But also fresh. I knew she was going to make it there because this was not the real interview. It was just a formality to confirm what we already know. It was an administrative process. You understand? It was a formality.
A box tick situation.
Yes. But the humbleness I saw in her, despite the fact that she was snapped, somebody else would have said, you refused to appoint me, why should I stand again? And she actually was explaining how she prefers the normal high courts because the work is straightforward there. The court is stressful, but she's still taking it as a call for duty. And I saw the humbleness. I saw somebody who still likes to serve. And I think it will be a good appointment. Not only, I don't want us to remain after 30 years of democracy in the narrative of a black woman. That woman, Justice Maya, is qualified, is experienced, has an excellent track record. I haven't seen her name coming up in nasty stuff that has to do with politics and money. You understand? So in my books, I may be wrong, but in my books, it's got a very impeccable record that I think she deserves the position, not because she's a woman, not because she's black, but because she's a jurist. She's a judicial person. And I think she will do well. I think President Ramaphosa is going to automatically appoint her into the position. Well, if it will be President Ramaphosa, unless he decides to sign between now and the next cabinet, unless he decides, because the recommendation is out now. So he still has time he's still the president of the Republic and to sign it off. But I think it's a good move for the country. I think we I've always sang the song of Joan Armatrading, if women could rule the world, it will be a good thing. Let us put more professional women in the positions they deserve. They are equipped to handle. And I think, I also listened at the way she talks about the challenges in the judiciary. Lack of resources, magistrate must be separated, are operating differently from the judges and those committees. She's well vested in also the administration of the judiciary, not only in judicial matters. She's well vested, and I'm happy as a citizen and a resident of this country. I'm very happy with her appointment and recommendation.
In fact, speaking of President Ramaphosa, he was on Talk Radio 702 earlier in the week.
Yes,
and he said he's definitely back for a new term. Next week. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, look, if the ANC wins, I think they will still put him back. I think he will remain in power until they go to their elections only in 2027. That's what they will do to can also try and stabilize the organization, which is very unstable at the moment.
Sure.
But the polls are showing us different figures. If one has to go with the mood in the street, with the polls of these NGOs and organizations, I mean, we saw the KZN polls during the course of this past week saying if we would go to elections today, MK will take about 47% of KZN and followed by IFP at 14.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's to that extent, even if it's at KZ only. I don't agree with that. But I can't wait for the elections to come. I can't wait for Wednesday and see peaceful elections in South Africa.
Absolutely. So the National Assembly dissolved on Wednesday.
Yes, at midnight, going to Wednesday, yes.
Yes, sir. So what does that mean then? So what happens with all our honorable members?
No. The honorable members will remain members of the National Assembly. Dissolved, they will still get their salary for this month.
Okay.
And work will be done on ad hoc basis.
Sure.
It is in the rules of the National Assembly and the Constitution that at midnight on the day they were, I nearly said ordained. You see, son of a pastor. What do? They were
sworn in.
They were sworn in.
Yes.
At midnight on the day they were sworn in 5 years ago.
Sure.
The National Assembly dissolves.
Sure.
So the current acting Speaker of the National Assembly, Ntate Tsenodi, yes, Lechisa Tsenodi, will still continue acting
Sure.
until the new members are sworn in. If there's urgent work to be done on ad hoc basis. Like there's still work to be done. I mean, the National Assembly has to oversee some of the things that will come out of the elections and work that was pending on the table. We cannot put the country on pilot. We cannot freeze everything. We still have to work. So they will be operating on ad hoc basis as prescribed by the Constitution and the rules of the National Assembly.
Sure.
But the National Assembly has been dissolved. I must actually find out from my friends who are MPs and ask them, can I still refer to them as honorable members at the moment, or they are just paper pushing clerks?
Yeah, they're former members of parliament.
They are former members now. I think officially we should regard them. But you know, again, if they are going to politics, this thing of honorable, we must remove it from politics. There's nothing honorable in politics. Nothing. There's nothing honorable in politics, Fresh. Why that is still called? We must actually divorce this British neo-colonial and Roman Dutch law practice and mentality of honorable, you know, like judges wearing those black and white frills and honorable members. Let's come with something Afro-dynamic. Let's change. I think our future minister of, and this is my way to, the future minister of arts and culture in South Africa must recommend to cabinet, to parliament, to change the face and the look of parliament.
Yes.
The artwork, the paintings, that thing that looks like a sword or a drum majorette kind. Can we come with something African? When they walked in, when we usher the head of state in, can they play African drums?
Exactly.
Can they play a horn, lenaka? You know, the way Africans would. Why do we still do things the Roman Dutch way? Because if we want to change things, like we are renaming streets and dams and buildings, why are we not changing our practices in how we conduct ourselves in parliament? Well, you know, the way they address each other. Why don't we bring back lekgotla? They call it the cabinet lekgotla.
Yes.
Which comes from a Setswana traditional, you know, kingdom lekgotla.
Yes.
But our practices, we still dress like the way the Queen Elizabeth had ordered them to dress up. You look at the inauguration of the head of state, you look at the, what do you call it, when the president addresses the nation, the State of the Nation address.
Yes, yes.
Things are still done the British colonial Dutch Roman law way. And I think we should change that.
We're a black African country.
Yes. And we should do it. But well, a lot of African countries, you go to countries like Kenya, you go to Nairobi, coming to Namibia, and you still find judges and the jurists wearing those things that looks like a bleached weave. and the way the British and the Roman Dutch colonial justice people were dressing. Fortunately, in South Africa, they don't do it. But again, I have a problem every time I go to court, and I spend a lot of time in courts for various reasons. And I have to address this person sitting there as my lord, my lord. What my lord? Well, I do it in respect, but what my lord? What lord are we talking about?
Yeah.
Why do they become the lords? Because it comes from the British houses of the lords. You understand? So we are still extending what we fought for centuries, decolonize the African mind. If we don't decolonize the culture that we focus on, how are we going to decolonize the African mind? And I think it's one of the things that our Minister of Arts and Culture should focus on those things. How do we change the mindset? When my child, who is 8 years old, looks at television and asks me, what is that? Why are they doing? How do I explain it to it? To say Jan van Riebeck put it in my great-grandfather's brain, and my great-grandfather gave it to my father to me, and I'm still allowing it now, guys. You know, and again, that's why I have respect for traditional African churches like Boshembe. When they do things their own way, when they do things the African way, even if we are modernized, you understand? Even you must go to the Shembe church. The story of, the shoes are said to be some of the filthiest things on earth. Not to say your nice white sneakers are filthy, but to take shoes off when you enter the Shembe church, the same as the temples and the mosque and things like that. Why are we not, as African people, practicing our own African cultures in order to can start working on our minds towards the mental liberation? I spoke like a politician for a moment.
And I think, where the world is going, increasingly people are becoming unapologetic for who they are.
Exactly, Fresh.
They're becoming unapologetic about, we will decolonize a lot of things, a lot of how we do things. It's not our way. And there's nothing wrong with Parliament proceeding, but also taking into account the fact that we're still Africans in Africa.
Yes.
Certain things might not work for us anymore.
Maybe when they bring youngsters who have been exposed, who have traveled the world, and I'm honestly expecting a cabinet or a parliament of younger people. I expect more than 50%, more than 200 members will be younger. There are people that I like in parliament at the moment. I always tell people, funny enough, who's my favorite politician? The IFP leader, who is the chairperson of SCOPA now. Nhleko or something like that. He's the IFP leader.
Yes.
He's my favorite politician. That guy, he is a real politician, not the ones on the street.
He's there for the people.
He's a state person. He's there for the people. Yes. When he speaks, I actually had to ask years back, I thought he was from the UDM. And somebody said, no, he's from IFP. That's my favorite politician, followed by the leader of ATM. I like that guy, very professional.
Yeah.
You do have very good politicians from, obviously, the ANC and the DA that I like. But those are the kind of people I will want to see sitting in the National Assembly, making and writing laws for the country. You remember the predecessor of Mr. Nhleko? It was the former PAC leader who formed his political party, APC. Who was the chairperson of for many years. He was the chairperson of SCOPA, and his party didn't get a seat now, and he was not retained. You would have never thought that person is a Pan-Africanist when he was doing his job. And that's the kind of people we need in government. And I think, look, I'm very positive of the kind of the National Assembly we are going to have from now as a country. I'm very positive. I think we are going to have a bunch of good people.
Yes.
Of the 3 voting papers, one of the voting papers I'm going to vote with my heart. I just discovered that somebody very close to my heart is on the ballot papers. I'm like, wow. And I sent a message. I said, I'm going to vote with my heart this time, not politically and with my mind.
I was listening to Talk Radio 702 earlier in the week.
Yeah.
And they'd interviewed some of the 18 and 19-year-olds.
Yes.
That are also
qualifying to be first-time voters.
No, they're standing for
18 and
office.
19?
Yes, I think it's about 15, 18 and 19-year-olds.
Really? I was not even aware of that.
Yes, there's 18 and 19-year-olds, and they're kids, but if you're politically aware, I mean, we are all political animals. Regardless of our ages.
At 19, look, at 19, I was very much political. I don't underestimate the 19-year-old, 20-year-old, because...
In fact, at 19, you were a war veteran already. Because you were done fighting.
Yeah. No, I was not even aware that we have people as young as that.
18 and 19.
Oh, no, that's very interesting. I like this. Unfortunately, the media, including us, as a media platform, we did not, and all media houses did not give, until the last minutes, I've seen one or two radio and TV stations giving an opportunity to the so-called independent candidates.
Yes.
And very last minute, the last 2 weeks only, it was unfortunate. But again, it's a build up. As I've said, towards local government elections, it will be much more better.
Sure.
I have a personal close friend who stood in the Valley as an independent candidate, Tabang, as an independent in the previous local elections. He didn't make it, but he had worked the ground and he was clear with what he's doing. And I said to him, "Brad, don't give up. The next local election, stand again." But I think going forward to the most important elections of the country, the local elections that are very close to service delivery and close to home.
Sure.
Independent candidates from communities must rise. Unfortunately, I'm standing up, I've told you, but I'm standing up in a wrong community. I wonder if my white neighbors in Verwoetsberg will vote for me as their ward councillor come 2027 or 2028. But I think independent candidates, I'm actually going to research and find out who are these youngsters.
Sure.
Maybe after the elections, we should invite some of them, win or lose.
Yes,
we
sir.
should invite some of them to the show and learn from them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
I think let's go to legal woes of a former speaker, Nosiviwe Mapisa Ngakula.
Yes.
Because she had asked for legal assistance from the Ministry of Defense because the allegations are about when she was in that ministry. And last week, Sunday, was it Sunday?
I saw the report on Monday. Yeah.
Minister of Defense Thandi Modise denying legal funding for former National Assembly Speaker Mapisa Ngakula for her corruption trial. So what does that mean, and what must she go for legal aid now?
I wonder if she will qualify for legal aid
or
because
Comrades Gazette.
I don't only think only comrades. You know, normally what happens in high profile, what they call high profile cases, you get jurists or lawyers who volunteer.
Oh yes.
To can do this because for their credibility, if they win, it will look good on them. I listened to the senior counsel advocate Dalimpofu the other day saying actually over 50% of his cases,
yes,
he's doing them pro bono.
Yeah.
And he says of the other 50% that's left, 20% goes to the youngsters that is training, the junior advocate that is developing and training. So only 30% of the actual cases that he even said they don't even get public scrutiny and profile.
Yes.
It's his actual work. And I was like, wow, Advocate Mpofu. But I think there will be law firms and lawyers who will stand up. He doesn't she doesn't qualify. Mayor Mapisa Ngakula doesn't qualify for legal aid. If you look at how legal aid works, you have your income. When last were you employed? She resigned. She was not dismissed, and things like that. So she doesn't qualify for the normal state legal aid process. But there will be NGOs. There will be legal firms that may volunteer that service. But at the moment, as it stands, Thandi Modise, her successor on both sides, their successor
yes,
on defense and the National Assembly said no. But you know, Fresh, what I think? I think Thandi Modise was already under public scrutiny and pressure to say no to this whole thing. I don't know whether their relationship is cordial as comrades, but if I was sitting on Thandi Modise's position, I wouldn't want to soil my position as well. I would have said no. But also, I've said on this platform, she is being charged for criminal offenses that are unrelated to your work, your line of duty. If you have made wrong decisions in the line of duty, then you can stand up and say, but it was along the lines of duty. Like we have paid for Zuma and MK, like we have paid for President Zuma during the Shabir Sheikh and the arms deal case, and for many others that we have been paying from our pockets because, in inverted commas, they claim to have made those decisions in the line of duty. In this instance, the former Speaker of the National Assembly, Mema Pisang Ngakula, is being charged for corruption allegations or activities to say she had taken bribes, yes, military transactional bribes, but it was in her personal capacity. Whether to influence the decision or what, we don't know. We will know when we go deep into the case. So at the moment, she must be like me. She must pay from pocket, Baba. I've been paying from pocket for the last 2 years for writing a book. You see,
Yes.
I was charged at work for publishing a book. Now, that has nothing to do with my border management work. And I had to pay from my pocket because of that. And I think it's good. I think it's an administrative process. I just had to prove that, no, I didn't do that. And that's when I will not claim from the state coffers. People must start respecting the state purse. If it's personally, Botsang, you chout the money on your own, member Pisang Ngakula, I don't say she received the money, but if she did, she didn't take that money into the defense kitty.
It wasn't a communal wig.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't a communal wig.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, I think it was the good decision from the Minister of Defense, but she also did it procedurally wrong. You remember what she did? She wrote to the head, the chief of legal in the defense, undermining the minister, undermining the Secretary of Defense, and you write to the chief of legal. But it's, water under the bridge. She must now face the courts, and we know that it's going to take many more years to come. She should take tips from President Ramaphosa. You see, President Ramaphosa doesn't go to court for anything at all. The Phala Phala story, you saw what developed this week. He's paying back the money before the new administration come and say, pay back the money. President Ramaphosa has decided to pay back Mustafa, the buffalo.
he never took delivery of the buffalo.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I know I'm adding something there that was not in our agenda and he didn't ask. President Ramaphosa and his Phala Phala people are playing games with the minds of South Africans. And this Mustafa. Mustafa agreed that he brought the money. Then the money was not declared. SARS can't trace it. Then Mustafa says, if they can't trace it, I don't know. Then Mustafa never received the buffaloes. Now Ramaphosa wants to pay back the money. What is he paying back for? Number one, the money was stolen. Number one, the money was stolen. In normal commercial law or mercantile law or farming law process, if proceeds of a business get stolen, you have insurance.
Yes.
Now, if President Ramaphosa was saying, I've claimed from the insurance, they are paying back Mustafa, it's a different ball game. But it's paying back with which man? The money was stolen. There was no money. The money was stolen, or part of it. It was stolen. That's number one. Number two, there's something I want to bring to the attention of the public. I heard people on the radio and social media saying, it's over 3 years now, it's 4 years now, maybe the buffaloes did not breed, no, that's not true. If we recall the Phala Phala story, Mustafa on Christmas Eve drove to Phala Phala and said he saw the buffaloes. They were there. The only reason the buffaloes were not delivered to South Sudan or handed over to Mr. Mustafa, it is because we went into lockdown.
Sure.
Now, after lockdown, why were the buffaloes not delivered? Before we even knew about Phala Phala, because the Phala Phala story happened early 2022. It broke out that time. Between the opening of lockdown, the whole of 2021, why were the buffaloes not delivered to South Sudan?
Absolutely.
You understand? So, but look, the president says he's going to pay back the money to Mustafa. The stolen money. Some of these things, Mr. Ramaphosa, I must say, all of us, myself included, who undermined his straight wiseness of playing games, the man has not been before the court, not even once. In his term, it has come to an end. He's going for the second one, according to him. He's got a series of cases lined up.
Sure.
None of them saw the light in court even once. And you want to come and tell me that the judicial arm of the state is independent from the executive arm and you have a sitting president with so many cases that none of them have seen light. Guys, we are not all kids in the kindergarten, but that's a story for another day. Phala Phala story and the dollars and the buffaloes. Watch and mark my word. Immediately after elections, win or lose, it's going to come up.
Sure.
That's going to be a ticket for the opposition if the ANC wins. If the ANC loses and Ramaphosa leaves, they are going to go and hunt him using the Phala Phala, the CR17 records, and. So he must just pray that the ANC win, and ANC does what they do best, to defend and protect.
With bums even.
Kadibunu, the one even who is in charge. So President Ramaphosa must pray for it. Otherwise, the EFF, the DA, and the MK,
Sure.
and ATM and others are going to go for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Botsang, where do we get a hold of you, sir?
botsangm@gmail.com and 082-485-9100. Even for photo shoots, you can call that one. And then on social media.
And for male grooming.
And on social media, you can actually find me on @BotsangM and all social media handles. Yeah, nail grooming. Actually, the lady who does my nails said, I do your nails for free and I shave you and you don't even talk about me on your show.
What's her name?
I will get it proper in the handles next time.
Okay.
Next week, then I will mention her.
You must give her credit.
I must give her credit,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. And we are done. Another edition of #PoliTricks with Botsang Modimowame Moiloa. Next week is elections.
Yes.
Are you excited?
I am excited. I'm looking forward. And I'm going to vote. I've decided long ago I'm going to vote.
Perfect. We've been coming to you from AMP Studios, downtown Jersey. We're part of the Africa Podcast Network. Shout out Pezulu Works for the cinematography, all of our imaging by artist The Flow Fraser, and our guest Botsang Modimowame Moiloa. Creative producer Kuvesh Mohan. Show producer Kilezo Modisa King. Email us at waw@africapodcastnetwork.com. Till next week, have an incredible PoliTricks week in spite of yourselves.